Hello guys, it's TSPage, and today I'm coming back with another video. This is probably going to be a little bit late, because as of the time I'm recording this, I am very busy. I don't know if this will be a little bit late on the schedule, but if not, kudos to me. Yeah, this is probably going to be late, but whatever. So, this video is one that was requested in the comments. I'll put his comment up right here, but in essence, what he wanted me to do was explain the best way to rebuild your characters. So, hey, I figured I'd do that. I know there's videos out there that already kind of go over the same topic, but this is going to be my personal way of doing it, and it's a little bit different from most that I've seen. So, enjoy. So, there's two main approaches that I'm going to be going over in this video. I might put up on screen right now when the second approach is, but the first approach, which I'm going to start with, is for all of you newer players who are either very new to the game or you're not very skilled. No offense if you think you're good, but you're actually not. Or I'll have a second method for the people that are kind of comfortable with doing abysses, harder dungeons, stuff like that. So first off, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get either a second character slot or a second account. If you think that you really enjoy the game and you're going to play it a lot more in the future, then getting a second character slot would probably be better in the long run. Now, if you're just not sure and you're just kind of trying out the game, make yourself a second account, make yourself a second email, works just fine. This step is super important. This is similar to a lot of the beginnings and other tutorials. Having two characters is super essential, but this is where it starts to get different. Just a quick side note, in the video playing in the background right now, I'm just showing you exactly what I'm talking about, with a little bit of distractions, of course, because of good opportunities, but for the most part I'm just farming sprite worlds and godlands, and I'm just grabbing up some potions. And once I do this, I'm not sure how the timing will line up with the video, but once I have that all done, I will be trading them in for a tier 12 robe, which is one tier away from top, and a tier 11 wand, which is also one tier away from top. And it literally took me less than 20 minutes to do this, so that's just kind of putting in perspective how easy it is to get all this stuff. So now that you've made a second character of some sort, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to level up that character as a priest, a wizard, or an archer. Now, the reason I recommend this is because you can teleport to Godlands, which has all of these enemies up on screen, and you can usually teleport to level 20s to get there. It's pretty simple. Just scroll out on your minimap and you should be able to find it. But the reason I say one of these three classes is because they are all ranged and they are all very good at farming the Godlands. Now, while farming Godlands, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to avoid the Abyss of Demons, ice caves if by chance you find it, labs, or most of these 4 to 5 tiered dungeons, unless you have someone else to do them with. But if you see a sprite world drop from one of these guys, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go in there, do the boss real quickly. Most players should be able to do it. It might take you a little bit of getting used to, but after a little while I'm sure that almost any player can do that, and it's super important to be able to do sprite worlds and farm those. So when I was a young player and I was not very experienced, I valued potions super highly and did not realize how easy they actually were to get. So if you're a new player, once you wrap your mind around how easy it is to actually receive potions, it becomes a lot easier because you realize that, oh, you just gotta farm this. It takes a lot of patience, but it's not that hard. So, once you are in the Godlands, you're getting your def, your speed, your dex, all of that stuff, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to US West 2 and start trading. And so once you start trading, you want to go to Realm of the Mad God price guide. I think the website's more specifically called Guide Scroll. But what this website will do, it'll show you it'll give you a good guide on what items to buy for what price, and if you're using an archer, especially with the new buff for the bows, it's super good, super cheap. All of the wands are really cheap, and now once you get to the staves, it gets a little bit more expensive. But if you're able to get just a couple stat potions, you should be at almost top tier gear, like 2 or 3 tiers away, just with a couple of death. So as you can see up on screen right now, I went into US West 3, which is the trade server for the time being. It can always change depending on what Deca and their servers are doing, but it took me all of about 5 minutes to trade in my 4 potions, my 3 dex, and my 1 speed. It took me about 5 minutes to trade all of those in for 2 def, or 1 def and 1 attack, which are pretty much the same thing in the current economy of Realm. And so once I did that, I was able to almost immediately trade it in for an Elder Warlock, which is a 1 under top tier robe. And then I was able to go on Rotmg and message a guy. It took me a little while because there were not very many sellers online at the time I did it, but I eventually found one and was able to get my hands on a tier, I think it was 11-1, which is 1 under top tier as well, in less than 5 minutes. So it's quite simple. You can do this as well for all of the abilities. All of the tier 5 abilities, which are 1 under top, are 1 def, and Paramount HP Ring, which is very good for surviving on lower health characters, which most of you guys should be playing on if you're farming, like a wizard, archer, stuff like that. Getting a Paramount HP Ring for 1 def, if you can, is very, very good. Okay, so that about sums up this section of the tutorial on how to rebuild / build up a character. Now I'm going to get on to the second section where I will be going into higher level, like you can consistently max characters but you're always dying kind of thing, and you're like at a slump kind of thing. Or if you're coming from that second section and you just want to know this for just when you start getting better, then go right on ahead. This is the second section. Hope you guys enjoy this as well. So just as a brief overview of this second section, I will be going over some of the higher level dungeons that is really good to know how to do once you start getting more max characters, such as Tomb of the Ancients, Oryx the Mad God, and Oryx 2, and Abyss of Demons. These 3 dungeons are going to be your bane. I will also talk a little bit about sewers, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about pets. So my hope with this second section is I want to be a little bit more organized in my topics. So first off, I'm going to start with the Abyss of Demons, and this is kind of the most simple of all of the topics I will be talking about in this second section, as once you make yourself a melee character, if you make your main character, like your primary character, a warrior, a knight, or something like that, then Abyss of Demons should be a walk in the park. Just clear each room, take it room by room, drag 2 or 3 guys. Don't be scared of the lava, it's not as bad as you think, but just take it slow, and Abyss of Demons should be really good. These guys I put up on screen shoot these really big shots. That is pretty much all you have to worry about if you have semi-decent gear. And if you can find a treasure room in this dungeon, which looks like this, then you will be more than good and set, because a treasure room drops a def and a vit, as well as the boss dropping a potion of vit, guaranteed. So if you can do this with a friend or do it solo, it would be super rewarding, and you can get some really, really nice gear from this dungeon. So once Oryx is dead, he will drop a portal that is usually locked to the wine cellar. Now, wine cellar is where Oryx 2 is, and this is quote-unquote the real Oryx. Now, once you spawn in, I'll put up a picture of the minimap here, and this is where this is the path you're going to want to follow from spawn room to boss room. It's quite simple. It's always the same, just depends on which side you spawn on. But what you're going to want to do is cling to the walls, remember the path, and just try and get yourself to Oryx 2. So, avoid all of the boomerang shots, the blue shots shot by these guys, and all of the purple slime. These things will be like, this is how most people die in rushing. Now, once you get to Oryx 2, you're just going to want to chill, try and get yourself around 1,000 damage, and just run away, okay? If you know that you get 1,000 damage in on Oryx 2, and you don't want to risk losing your character, run away. 1,000, 1.5k, that's really all you need as far as damage goes to get your soulbound. And if you do get your soulbound, you can either get, it's a long list of stat potions. You can get tons of stuff from him. You can get a bunch of items that are worth multiple life, like top tiered gear, some of the best rings like exalted HP and stuff like that. You can also get anything under tops, so like tier 10 and above, everything. So Oryx 2 is a heaven for new players. He is very risky, and you're always going to want to circle going kind of clockwise. This way, if you do get confused, that way you'll start walking backwards, pressing your A key, rather than walking towards Oryx by pressing your D key. So if you get confused, just be cautious and try and get your soulbound in very sparingly. But if you do, it can give you massive rewards. So now I want to talk about Tomb of the Ancients. Tomb of the Ancients is a very, very good dungeon to farm if you're trying to get life potions, which are worth around 5 def in the current economy, and is a really good way to try and max your character if you don't have many else, or if you're trying to farm pots. This is a extremely, extremely fast way to do it if you can do a lot of them. So on screen a little while ago, I had a Grand Sphinx, and whenever you kill a Grand Sphinx, which spawn once per realm, then there's like a 50% chance that a Tomb of the Ancients will drop. Now, once one of these drops, you're going to want to go in, and you will spawn into the boss room. And once you're here, all of the bosses will not be activated. So currently what I'm doing on screen now is I am clearing the Sarks, and I'm just going around trying to make sure that they're all dead. Usually all of the time, there will be 5 Sarks. Sometimes there will be treasure Sarks, and these are just, they don't attack, they don't hurt you. They're literally just there to give you free items, pretty much. And if someone else is rushing, if you're a new player, don't bother rushing like I'm doing, unless you've had quite a bit of experience rushing other types of dungeons. Tomb of the Ancients is not one of the most forgiving dungeons to rush. So, got a little bit off topic there, but once you clear all 5 of the sarcophaguses that spawn around the tomb, which will be your quest, then the bosses will activate. Now, if you're a ranged character, like I highly recommend you bring for a public tomb, then you should probably just chill and wait for the bosses to come by. You might want to try and get in the rotation with them if they're not paralyzed, and try and get as much damage as you can possible. Don't worry about who you're shooting. Every public tomb will be just 100% dirty. Everyone's going to be shooting shots everywhere. The bosses are going to be shooting everywhere. It gets really messy in public tombs. So if you get your soulbound in, and you do manage to get a life, then you can get a life pot, of course, and from Bess you can get a pyro, and from Nut you can get a Sphinx, which is generally considered the worst, and from Geb you can get a Ring of the Nile. These are all really good rings, minus the Sphinx, which is not that great. It's like a no one likes the Sphinx, it's not that good. But everything else in the tomb that drops is super good. So if you can farm these consistently and try and get your soulbound in and get more comfortable with this dungeon, it will be a fantastic source of income. So one last thing before I go over pets real quick. The Toxic Sewers and the Shatters are both really good dungeons for higher level players once you start getting more confident in everything all around, as well as labs. Labs you can start doing a little bit earlier, but Sewers and Shatters, these are dungeons that you might want to wait on if your character is not maxed, as Sewers are very, very punishing, as most of the time you're not even able to heal yourself, and Shatters can insta-pop maxed characters. So bringing an unmaxed character to a Shatters is very hard. It's not that hard to learn a Shatters. I might do a short video on Shatters, not exactly a guide, but like some things that can make your life in a Shatters a lot easier. And as far as the other dungeons like sewers and labs, you can start doing those, but take it slow and figure out how the dungeon works before just diving straight into it. So last thing I'm going to go over is pets. I've already had a little bit of my pet yard playing in the background, just doing some random stuff in there, not doing much really, but the main thing for getting a pet is having it all be the same type of pet. So whenever I hover my mouse over the pet I have, it usually says humanoid. All of the babies are humanoid. My current pet is a humanoid. And basically what these humanoid pets do is they are very easy to get the best pet roll with, which is heal, magic heal, electric. And if you can't get heal, magic heal, electric, just try and get heal and magic heal and start feeding some items that you don't want, preferably untiered items that have good feed power that aren't that good, and just feed them up. Try and get them up to max level on both stats if it's uncommon. If it's a common pet, then you're just going to want to feed it up till it's level 30, and once you get two pets that have level 30 abilities, if it's a common, then you want to fuse them together and you can get an uncommon. And this goes on until you get divine pets. It's really complicated. You can look it up. And as far as fusing, if it's not max level, you shouldn't fuse it, because in the long run it'll hurt you because you won't be able to get the best pet possible. So once you're able to do this all consistently and you are able to do abysses, tombs, and stuff like that without dying, you can start doing some dungeons kind of like Shatters, and you can do some stuff kind of like labs, sewers, stuff like that, just soloing them now. And if you're able to do all of these things that I've said in the video so far, as well as get yourself a good pet, or at least a decent pet, probably around a rare should be your starting goal, or a maxed out uncommon, then you will be set and you should be able to thrive and do very, very good. I hope this video helped you guys rebuild your character if you're having a little bit of struggles, or if you're a newer player and you're not exactly sure and you're trying to max from 0-8. I hope that the first section helped you, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it to the end of the video. You mean a lot to me, and I hope you enjoyed or this video helped you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.